Hey guys, it's me Sid, and we're gonna be coding some Python. All right, I know we haven't coded in a while, but it's time to get started. I've been also taking some courses from Coursera, which is a great place where you guys can take courses and learn coding and other things as well. So I've been starting a Python class, and I hope that I can also teach you guys some of the stuff that I've learned. All right, because it's some pretty simple stuff, not too interesting, but we'll get there. Remember, first video coding is generally the basic one. So what do you do first? Come over here to Python, click download. All right, get that ready. Next, you're gonna go to Anaconda and click, but depending on whichever one you have. I have this Windows device, so I have Windows device, so I chose this one. You can choose which one you want. All right, once you have both, then open up Anaconda Navigator. Once you have like all the terminals and everything open up and everything's ready, and then we're gonna be using Jupyter Notebook. So then launch this. Alright, I already have this open. Once everything there is ready, it'll look somewhat like this. Alright, and we're gonna be looking at some stuff to code. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we're doing is my first Jupyter Notebook. Alright, and here, let's wait to finish loading. Let me see, can you guys see this? Alright, maybe we should zoom in a little bit more. Alright, there we go. That's better. Alright, so print. Alright, so we're saying print. Print should be in green if you're not using like anything fancy. Alright, but just like the standard stuff, but since I'm recording this way, it prints in green and black. Alright, so you got print, and then you got your parentheses, and then your quotes, double quotes, hello world, right? And then print in double quotes, hello world again. Alright, so this is just how to write hello world in Python. Alright, so once you have Python installed, you will need Jupyter or some other way. This is the text editor for Python. It has interpreter, script editor, really everything you need. Alright, we don't need anything like Sublime Text. I have that open as well, but we don't need that. Alright, we're using the very basic stuff here. Alright, I'm trying to make things simple. Right, Python is a very simple language as well. Alright, because it's just very simple. We might use PyCharm again, but first this is a new place because I want us to get like started. So once you get some practice right here, how did I write my first Jupyter Notebook? There is a title here where you can change the name. Alright, so yeah, there are different ways you can like run the code. You can either press run or shift enter. I guess that was it, right? Shift enter, or I don't know. Well, we don't need these lines anyway, so we have that. Alright, so let's get out of that. Alright, how to delete a cell. Alright, if you want to delete a cell, edit, delete cells, edit, or just click no. There we go. Okay, that's how you delete. So just D again. It's not going away. Oh yeah, we need to select the cell. It's not going away. It's not going away. Edit. Delete cells. That's fine. Alright, so let's leave out of that. Okay, alright, you know what, let's just save that. Alright, now we're gonna look at not my first intro to Python. So we're gonna get some of our basic stuff. Alright, here we go. Let's wait for that to finish loading. Alright, I'm gonna go a little bit fast, okay, because I don't want this to be a long video. I just want to get this video over because I've been doing way too many takes, because everything needs to be like perfect, and when it's almost done, something's interrupts me in the end. I could edit, but I don't want to. I don't feel like editing. Alright, anyway, let's get started. So some of the basic terms. So print, as you did before, parentheses, hello world. So that prints hello world. Alright, print hello world single quotes. So it printed hello world single quotes. Alright, whenever you print something, you put it in parentheses and then it quotes, print that out. Okay, print today, comma, which has a space to it, is a good day. Alright, notice how the comma isn't part of the code when we printed it. Right, I'm talking about number 1 right over here. So what happened was the comma would only be part of it is if it was like either in the today quotes or the is a good day quote, but in neither of them, the comma is kind of acting like the comma is just part of the code. Alright, so the comma has to be treated as a space, alright, to kind of space them out. Alright, but in the end it would be printed as today space is a good day, rather than having to put a space in the quotes itself. Alright, print good morning. Alright, so I printed good morning, and then at the end we're gonna put a space of Sid. Alright, so good morning Sid. Alright, print, alright, good night, comma, Sid. Alright, now as I said before, commas are generally ignored except for I added a comma here. So SEP stands for separator, so the separator is a comma. So in between these two lines there's a separator, and the separator is a comma, so that's why it says good night, comma, Sid. Alright, now let's get into some numbers. Alright, so 8, when you run 8, you get 8. Alright, hopefully some of this is making sense to you guys. Alright, if you have any questions, let me know in the installation or in any process. Alright, -1 is -1, 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 minus 6 is -1, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 into 6 is 12, 3 plus 5 is 8, 8 minus 12 is -4, 3 plus 5 is 8, 8 minus 2 is 6, 6 times 6 is 36. Now let's think of something else. Okay, so what is exactly this type of number? What I'm saying is in 15, line 15, right over here, okay, it says type 99 in parentheses. Alright, so what is 99? How does Python treat 99? Alright, well, it treats it as an integer, so 99 is an integer, so int. Alright, 1.3 is 1.3. What about 1.3? So if it's not an integer, if it's a decimal, if it has a decimal value, alright, then it's a float. Alright, so positive and negatives, they're all integers. Decimals are all floats. Even if it's a 0.0, it's still a float. You see that decimal? It's a float. Alright, so type -5.1, that's a float because that is a decimal. 2 times 3.5 is 7, but it's 7.0 because it's basically saying this int times float. The ints will all be in a float. Alright, because even if you could write it as an integer, alright, it's still gonna put a decimal. Alright, so it will be 7.0. So 7 is an integer, 7.0 is a float, 7.2 divided by 2.0 is 3.5. Alright, we don't need a 0.0 there. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. I put it there anyway. So -1 is an integer, as I said, positive or negative, they're all integers. Alright, 5 is an integer, 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Now you might be wondering, what does this mean? 3 divided by 2 is 1? It's going to saying this, alright? How many times can 2 go into 3? Alright, once. So there you go. 4 divided by 2.5, so it's basically saying how many times can 2.5 go into 4? Well, it can go in once, but since it's in float, it will put a decimal, so 1.0. Alright, next. Alright, also, yeah, so basically your answers, when they put it like this, they're all gonna be in whole numbers. Alright, because you can't put something in half a time. Alright, that would probably just be in your remainder, and that's in mod when you get into print. I don't know, that's when you get into percentages, the simple, but we'll get to that after number 4. So here we're saying 2 times 3, 2 to the power of 3. Alright, so if you want to write power, or no, sorry, not to the power, or wait, 2 to the power, yeah, 2 to the power of 3 is 8. So 2 to the power of 4, 16, yeah. 2 to the power of 4 is 16, alright. So it's basically saying, okay, you take this number and then to the power of 4, alright. And then you can keep going, 2 to the power of 5, alright. 2 to the power of 2 is 4, 4 to the power, or 2 into 2 is 4, 4 into 2 is 8, into 16, 16 into 2 is 32, alright. Alright, so yeah. Alright. 7 percent 5. What does that mean? So, okay, 5 can go into 7 1. So if you did 7 slash slash a 5, you would get 1. But what would be the remainder? What would be left? 7 minus 5 is 2. Alright, import math. What does import math mean? Meaning all the stuff that's in Jupyter that it knows about math, just import all of it. And then we can write this, alright? Let's say we wanted to figure out square root of a number, alright? One way you can figure out is by doing this. Once you say import math, again, just put this somewhere at the top, alright? It'll be helpful, okay? Math dot square root. Alright, so for finding square root, you can say math dot square root and then just write 16, alright? It'll give you the square root of 16. Now, you could argue that the square root of 16 is 4, but the square root of 16 could also be negative 4, alright? Well, here they just give you positive values, alright? They're not going to give you a negative value, alright? So it gives you the positive square root of it, alright? The absolute, what is it, absolute value? Or just the positive value, right? Let's put it like that. Why is there a decimal? Math like square root, they put a decimal. They're just going to be decimal, alright? It's fine. Pow. Well, pow. Power. 4 to the power of 3. 64. That's what it means, alright? Next, number 38, 8. Now, it's to the power, alright? But it's not squared. Nothing's being squared here, alright? Or being to the power of. We're actually finding cube root. So if you want to find cube root, you can basically do like 8, and then just put your 1 divided by, and then 2 1. Well, if you want to find cube root, you can put a 3. So cube root of 8 is 2. Point of why? Because decimals, if there's a fraction, they'll be treated as a decimal. Same thing here, square root of 16, because there's a 2, is 4. Alright, because there's a fraction, this will have a decimal in it. Alright, moving on. 3.1 divided by 2, that's 1.55. Alright, 3.1 divided by 2, how many times can 2 go into 3.1? It can go in once. Alright, but since there's a decimal, this will also have a decimal value. Alright, so if you put 2 into 3 once, you'll have a remainder of 1. Alright, next. 4. So 2 can go into 4 twice. What will be the remainder? Nothing. 2 goes into 4 twice perfectly. So there will be no remainder, alright, in line 34. Alright, or sorry, 43. Next one. 44, alright. So 2 can go into 3.1 once, alright, and the remainder will be 1.1, alright, get that 3.1 in, alright. Next, we're gonna be doing Boolean. Boolean meaning true or false. So, you're also going to be wondering, Sid, why are there 2 equal signs here? Well, you put 1 equal sign when you're saying this is equal to this, when it's just not numerical values, alright? So, or if you're declaring a variable with some value. But here we're not giving it a value, we're just seeing if it's true or false. There you're going to use 2 equal sign, alright? Saying 1 is equal to 1, 2 is equal to 2, 1 is equal to 2. That's false. 2 is equal to 2. That's true. Alright. 1 is less than 2. That's true. 1.2 is less than or equal to 1.2. It's not less than, but it is equal to. So that's true. Car is equal to car. That's true. Car is equal to car. That's true. So it doesn't matter. Alright, single quotes, double quotes, it doesn't care. Alright, it just cares about what's inside. Car is equal to car. Nope, because this has a capital, so this is a lowercase c, alright? So caps, upper caps and lower caps doesn't matter, alright? 1 is equal to 1. Well, that's false. Here you have it as a string, here you have it as an integer. 1 is not equal to 1. So if you want to write not equal, you put, I know it's a little weird, an exclamation mark saying, you know how an exclamation mark is, and then it's an equals to sign. So 1 is saying 1 is not equal to 1, meaning in this case, string 1 is not equal to integer 1. That's true, alright? So, now we're going to see the Boolean of something is true or false, if we're like actually saying that. So Boolean true is true, Boolean false is false, alright? Boolean 7 is true, Boolean 0 is false. What does that mean exactly? That means that any number that's not 0, Boolean will give it a true statement. If it's just 0, it'll give it a false. I think so, alright? Because ever since I tried, like, even decimals, Boolean 0.1, that's true, alright? But if you try Boolean -1, that's still true, alright? So integers, floats, they're all true, except for just the number 0. Boolean 0 is false, I guess, alright? Boolean 7 is equal to 2, that's false. Boolean 7 is not equal to true, or not equal to 0, that's true. 500,002 mod 2 is equal to 0. That's true. What does that mean exactly? If you want to see if a number is even or odd, if something is even, it has to at least be divisible by 2, right? Like, that's the common standard way of saying, right? If something is even, it has to be divisible by 2, right? Like 1 is odd, 2 is even, it's divisible by 2, 3 is odd, 4 is even. So every even number is divisible by 2. So if we're saying this number is even because it can go into 2 and we'll have nothing left over. Like, it can go into 2 perfectly, alright? Like 4, we did 4 mod 2 was 0 because 2 can go into 4 perfectly and I'll have no remainder. Alright, meaning 4 is an even number. How about 500,003 mod 2 is equal to 0? That's false. There will be some remainder left over, meaning it's not an even number, alright? So, how about this? So we can say 500,000, or yeah, 500,003 mod 2 is greater than or equal to 1. That's true. It's greater than. So if it's 1 or greater, then that's true. Alright. Now you're like saying, well, what if it's is it less than 1? If something is less than 1, alright. Or a better way of saying it is, what if we try 0? Alright. Now run that. That's still true, alright. So I guess a better way of saying it would be 0, alright? Because, well, yeah. But yeah, alright. And we're not going to try to do negative values because we're not dealing with anything negative here, alright? So we're not going to try anything less than 0, alright? Moving on. Nice. You get nice, alright? As an output, alright? You don't need to write any. If you see what's happening here is, why are you getting nice in this way? Okay, well, because you're not saying print, it's just outputting what you wrote. Alright, it's even putting the quotes in there. Alright, same thing here. If you do nice this way, it's gonna put nice, it's just gonna put it in single quotes. Right, it doesn't feel like there's a need of double quotes. Okay, now wow, Python is cool. Alright, what we're doing here is, see how I put a space in between the exclamation mark and the quote right over there, the single quote, right? Because if you don't put it, it'll just say why Python is cool, and you put the plus sign. But when it puts a plus sign, it doesn't put a space. For example, wow, let's say A, and then let's say this is B. All right. All right. Run, you get A and B. Let's say that A doesn't have space. Now run. Alright. You see A and B are pretty close to each other, like, and then let's take away that space. So they're all, I guess that didn't really matter. See, now, it just says that. So now, wow, how about this? Wow, exclamation mark. Alright. Python is cool. Well, then we don't need that, I guess, right? Run that. Wow, Python is cool. Let's say we add a space from here, from this point. Now run that. Wow, Python is cool. So see, that's still happening. So you need a space somewhere, either here or here. Alright, but other than that, it's not going to space it for you. So I did it this way, alright? Wow, Python is cool. Alright, and let me save that. Alright. Okay, moving along. Alright, so now we're going to say, what is yes? If you put it in single quotes, what is this? Yes is a string, alright? How about type 103? Well, even though 103 is a number, it's still a string. Why? Because it's in single quotes. If you don't put the quotes double quotes, single quotes in, if we just say type 103 in parentheses, then that's going to be treated as an integer. Alright, again, if it had a decimal, it would be a float. Alright, print, alright, name, alright, then I put a space, alright, because I needed a space between name here, Sid, comma, sing. Remember, the comma gives a space in between your quotes. Alright, here, print, name, right over here, Sid, plus sing. As you can see, I added a space. This time I added a space here, right? Just before the sing, alright? Print, Sid's last name is Sing. So what's going on here? I have this slash right over here, this backslash right over here, right? These are forward slashes. This is the backslash. Alright, because it's from the back, I guess. It's pointing back. Anyway, so what's going on is Sid's last name is Sing. What it's the slash is saying is it's kind of saying this single quotes is unreadable. It's because in order for there to be an apostrophe, this is saying don't think of it as like a line of code. Think of it as something that's part of the string itself. So this is kind of saying to ignore this. So it's Sid's last name is Sing. These are your quotes right here, and it's saying to ignore this. Let's say you didn't put that there and you just did that, then there would be an error. Alright. So where were we? We were here, right? Sid's last name is Sing. So you need a backslash right there. Now run it. Sid's last name is Sing. Alright. Let me save that. Alright. Now we're going to do some math. Alright, a little bit of math here. 1, 2, 3, 7, 4 divided by 6, 2, 1. I don't care if you guys know what that is. I'm not even asking you to remember it, alright? But you get here 19.259259259257, alright? Now we're saying int 1, 2, 3, 4 divided by 6, 2, 1. It says 19. Well, it then obviously rounded, because if it rounded, it would have been, to the nearest whole number, would have been more so 20. So what happened? It actually ignored all the decimals. So if you see an int, it's not to the nearest whole number, it's just saying ignore all the decimals. As soon as you get that whole number and then that decimal, just delete everything else. Alright, if you want a more accurate version to the nearest whole number, then you'd put a round, because this number is closer to 20, right, rather than 19, right, because it's 19.9. so that's what happened. Alright, int 1, well, I would print 1. Well, I wouldn't print, that would just be the output. Alright. Print 4 divided by 2, 2.0, because that's a fraction symbol right there. Round 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I'm saying round because it's to the nearest whole number, right? So I could even written int instead of round, but I just wrote round instead, I guess. Alright. We're not rounding, but if you just want int, so I guess you could just write int. Alright. Yeah, let's write int, because we're not rounding, alright? Just to make things more clear. I mean, there wouldn't be an error, but just to make it more clear, and let's save that, alright? So yeah, alright? Next, line 91, print 4 mod 2, 4 mod 2. So what I'm saying is this. So 4 mod 2, alright, is equal to, so that's one part, and then I put a space, right? Because I wanted a space right here after this. Is equal to, actually, I don't need a space there. Run that, because it's already giving me automatic space. Yeah, let's save that. Alright, so what it's saying is you need a comma. Alright, why do you need a comma? Or you need something, alright? Because in order for this to not be an error, because you're basically doing two things. However, since you're doing a string and an integer, and you're separating it by a comma, then it's fine. Alright, so you get 4 mod 2, that's what it's going to print, and then it's going to put the output of 4 mod 2 is 0, alright? Now, in this example, print 4 mod 2 is equal to, so 4 mod 2 is equal to, so that's this part right over here, and then plus, now we're doing string, but if you're not separating it by a comma, if you're saying like plus, however, since this is, this is you're writing in an integer form, you need to write str so that it knows that you're treating this as a string, not an integer, alright? Because this won't know that, alright? So you're gonna write string, and then it's gonna do the math for you, format to 0. So that's this port right, and that's this port right, alright? Print is for even, alright, and then plus again, so that's the first part, and then it's calculating away. So treat this as a string only. 4 mod 2 is equal to 0. Is that true? Yes, that is true. Alright, that's how that happened. Alright, 2 is equal to 2. That's true. 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. If you're wondering what comes first in this thing, divided by or times, it looks like it's divided by first because 12 divided by 3 is 2, 4 times 2 is 8, and then since we're dealing with division, there's always going to be decimal. If it did multiplication first, it would be 3 times 2 is 6, 12 divided by 6 is 2. I guess it's more so left to right, alright? For example, let's say we did 3 divided by 2 times 12, wait, what did I do before? Undo that. 12 divided by 3 times 2, right? So 3 times 2 over 12. 3 times 2 over 12. Run that. 0.5. So it reads left to right, alright? Because 3 times 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 12. 2 divided by 12 is... 2 divided by 12. 2 divided by 12 is 1 by 6. 3 by 6. Still half. Alright. So let me save that, I guess. So it's more so of a left to right kind of thing, alright? But let's say we don't write that. Let's say we put 3 divided by 2 is what, 6, right? We put a 3 there. Now run that. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 over 3. Hold on. 2 over 4. Now run that. 1.5. 3 divided by 2 is 3 times 2 is 6. 6 divided by 4 is 1.5. Yeah, 0.5. But that would still happen, alright? I guess it's fine. It doesn't really matter. Let's save that. Alright. Anyway, print thanks. I put a slash there because thanks for learning today's lesson. See you soon. But should I end it? Not yet, alright? Let's delete these lines really quickly. Edit, delete cell, edit, delete cells, and now I'm gonna go, you guys. Alright, so thanks for watching this quick introduction to Python. Alright, and I will see you guys soon. Alright, bye bye.